Director, screenwriter, and producer George Lucas was born on May 14, 1944 in Modesto, California. His early childhood was spent in the suburbs and on his parents' walnut ranch. In his teen years, he developed a passion for racing and wanted to be a professional drag racer. This led to him being in a tragic car accident just before he graduated. It was the end of his racing career, however, he found a new passion for film, which brought him to the University of Southern California Film School. It was during his stay here that he would earn several prizes and awards, and eventually earned an internship at Warner Brothers. The internship included him assisting Francis Coppola in the making of Finian's Rainbow. This led to a friendship with Coppola, which led to Coppola convincing Warner Brothers to invest into one of George Lucas's earlier films, THX 1138, Electric Labyrinth. Although it had won first prize in the 1967-68 National Student Film Festival, the full-length version would ultimately flop at the box office in 1971. The following year, Coppola would go on to start working on The Godfather, which led Lucas to create the now infamous Lucasfilms. In 1973, the company would release American Graffiti, which casted many young talents of the time, including Harrison Ford and Ron Howard, and would also go on to be nominated for Best Picture, Best Screenplay, and Best Director, as well as many more. After this first huge success, Lucas spent the next 2 years working on his next masterpiece, Star Wars. During this time, Lucas would develop Industrial Light and Magic to create all the visual effects for this film, as well as Sprocket Sound to handle the mixing and editing of all the audio for the film. This would also become what is now Skywalker Sound. At first, many companies rejected Lucas's idea for the film, but it would eventually be picked up and released by 20th Century Fox. George had agreed to forego a salary at the time for the film, and instead he chose to take 40% cut on all the box office sales as well as all the merchandising sales. Star Wars went on to become one of the most highest-grossing films of all time, as well as won 6 Academy Awards that year. Due to that success, Lucas went on to write and direct the next 2 installments of the Star Wars trilogy. Next, alongside Steven Spielberg, they went off on their next movie venture and created the Indiana Jones series. Lucas had spent the next few years developing Skywalker Ranch into a full production facility that could accommodate all the needs of Lucasfilms. In the following years, Lucas would go on to take a different role and try his hand in the producing game. This ended up in him producing several box office successes and some not so successful. In 1993, Lucas would also work alongside Steven Spielberg again on the film Jurassic Park. It was here where he realized all the new advances in technology, and he decided that it might be time to revisit an old idea, Star Wars. Between 1999 and 2005, Lucas would be busy creating the prequel to his massive successor. In this time, Lucas would be writing and producing the trilogy that would tell the story of how Star Wars all began, and he would also produce a miniseries for Cartoon Network titled Star Wars: Attack of the Clones, and he also invented a new specification for theaters known as THX. This allowed the highest fidelity playback in any theater environment. In 2008, Lucas would act as the producer as well as assisted in the writing for the new Indiana Jones reboot, and partnered with Spielberg once again for the director. In 2012, Lucas would go on to write and produce the film Red Tails, which would be his last major release before announcing his retirement from big blockbusters. And instead, he decided to go back to smaller, more independent films, and would sell Lucasfilms to Disney for $4.05 billion. He received half the payment in cash and the other half in Disney stock, and is now the second largest shareholder of the Disney company. Currently, Lucas has been acting as a consultant to Disney for the upcoming reboot of the Star Wars franchise, and will probably be working on the next 2 installments of the series as well. And that about wraps up my podcast on George Lucas. Thanks for watching.